Rakesh Sharma wasn't born into fame, riches, or a life of comfort. He was born in the narrow, dusty lanes of Bhopal, into a home no bigger than a classroom's corner, with walls stained by time and a tin roof that clattered wildly when the rain hit. His mother, Meena, was his everything, a housemaid with cracked hands, a soft voice, and eyes that carried both pain and hope. His father, Rajiv, had walked out on them when Rakesh was just 6 years old. There was no goodbye, no warning, just silence that echoed for years. Rakesh grew up quietly. He never asked for much. He knew his mother couldn't afford new shoes or colorful lunchboxes like the other children brought to school. Instead, he learned to be grateful for every chapati she packed for him, every secondhand book a kind neighbor donated, and every story his mother whispered to him at night when the power went out. But deep within him, behind the silence and modest smiles, something powerful was brewing. A dream. Not one shaped by movies or fantasy, but a pure, simple longing. To break the cycle. To lift his mother from the shadows of struggle and stand tall in a world that had ignored them. School was a place where Rakesh both found himself and lost himself. He loved learning. Numbers made sense to him. Science excited him. But poverty sat beside him in every class. His school bag had torn straps, and he wrote with half-broken pencils. While other students went home to tuition and tutors, Rakesh went to help his mother finish chores. He washed dishes, carried water, and sometimes helped her clean houses just to afford dinner. Despite the hardship, he smiled. He had to. He had made a promise to his mother once, standing barefoot in the rain as they waited for a leaking bus. Ma ek din main kuch banunga, tere liye sab kuch badal dunga. She had smiled weakly, but her eyes, those tired, glowing eyes, believed him. When he turned 15, everything took a sharp turn. Meena fell sick. Years of inhaling chemical fumes from cleaning products, living in damp homes, and walking for miles without rest had caught up to her. Her cough became more persistent. Doctors at the government hospital diagnosed her with chronic respiratory disease. The medicines were expensive, and the treatment, though necessary, was beyond what they could afford. Without a choice, Rakesh dropped out of school. The decision crushed him. He had loved school. It was the only place he felt like he had a future. But reality does not wait for dreams to catch up. He took a job at a welding shop nearby and delivered newspapers in the early mornings. He worked 14 hours a day, inhaling smoke and dust, coming home with burns on his arms and cuts on his fingers. But he never complained. Each night, he placed the little money he earned into his mother's medicine jar and sat beside her bed, reading aloud from old books they'd kept since he was 10. One evening, as his mother struggled to sleep through another coughing fit, Rakesh sat beside her and whispered, "Ma, promise me you'll get better. I'm learning something new every day. I'll build something. Start something. One day, we won't have to worry about money. I promise you." She reached out, placing her rough, bony hand on his cheek, and whispered back, "Tukar sakta hai, beta. Tuj main wo baat hai jo dunia main kam logo main hoti hai." Himmat. That single word, himmat, stayed with him. It became his fuel. At 17, Rakesh discovered something that would change everything. A cyber cafe with high-speed internet. He had been asked to deliver newspapers to the cafe, and while waiting for the shop owner, he peeked inside. Rows of young men were learning digital marketing, coding, and editing. He was fascinated. When he asked the cafe owner, a middle-aged man named Nabil, what they were doing, Nabil smiled and said, "Wo sab future seekh rahe hain bhai. Computer ka zamana hai. To be seekly." That day, Rakesh didn't go home. He sat in a corner, wide-eyed, absorbing everything he could from YouTube tutorials and free online courses. Nabil, moved by his sincerity, allowed him to use a system for free every night after work. For months, Rakesh worked in the day and learned in the night. He taught himself basic computer repair, learned how to edit videos, and even began exploring how to upload content on YouTube. He didn't have a proper camera or microphone, so he used his friend's old phone to shoot. His first video was shaky, the audio barely audible, but it was real. He titled the video, "How to Fix a Broken Fan at Home, Hindi." He uploaded it without expecting anything. The next morning, he checked the video, 43 views. The next day, 96. A week later, 430 views and 3 comments. "Bye, this helped. Thanks," one comment read. Rakesh was stunned. People were watching him. People were learning from him. That night, he didn't sleep. Instead, he shot 2 more videos, one about fixing a mixer and another about rewiring a plug. Weeks turned into months. His channel, which he called Fix It with Rakesh, grew steadily. He never chased trends. He just solved real problems with honesty. He smiled shyly on camera, often stammered, but explained things in a way that felt like a friend helping a friend. Slowly, his subscriber count grew. 1,000, then 5,000, then 10,000. With the little money he earned through YouTube ads, he bought a tripod and a second-hand mic. His videos got better. His confidence grew. He even began adding stories to his content, real stories of his life, of his struggles, of his dreams. By the time he turned 20, Rakesh had over 100,000 subscribers and was earning enough to quit welding. He began to dedicate himself fully to the channel, taking on small freelance tech repair jobs to support his mother's treatment and save money. But life doesn't always celebrate success quietly. One morning, Rakesh tried logging into his YouTube account. Incorrect password. He tried again. Still no luck. Hours later, he received an email. Your account has been compromised. Everything was gone. Videos, followers, revenue. His heart sank. Years of effort stolen in minutes. He ran to the cyber cafe trembling. Nabil tried helping. They sent recovery requests. Days passed. Then weeks. YouTube's response was slow, almost robotic. Rakesh fell into silence. He didn't eat for 2 days. He locked himself in his room and stared at the walls. Mina, now fragile and thin, placed a hand on his shoulder and said, Jo chin gaya wo to dobara bana sakta hai. Tere hath main wo takat hai beta. And she was right. He didn't rise immediately. He mourned, he cried. But slowly, he stood back up. He created a new channel, Rebuild with Rakesh. His first video was raw and honest. He told viewers what had happened, that he had lost everything. But he wasn't giving up. If I can rebuild a broken fan, I can rebuild a broken dream, he said, his voice cracking. The internet responded. Viewers from all across India poured in with love. They reshared his video. Tech YouTubers mentioned him in their stories. Within 2 months, his new channel surpassed 50,000 subscribers. In another 6 months, it hit 1 million. This time, his videos were about more than just repairs. They were about resilience, about overcoming failure. He began including stories of his mother, his childhood, and what it meant to fight silently. People related to him. He wasn't a celebrity, he was one of them. His comment sections became communities. Young boys from villages, girls from shelter homes, unemployed men from small towns, all shared how Rakesh's videos inspired them to start their own journeys. One girl, Priya, wrote, Baya, maine aapke videos dekar apna repair business shuru kiya. Pehli bar gar wala ne mujhe seriously liya. Rakesh began traveling to villages, hosting free workshops on practical skills. He collaborated with NGOs to provide tools and materials to students. His goal was never fame, it was impact. And it was just the beginning.